This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another Can Crushers episode. I am your host, Mark Martinez. Listen, guys, I can talk. I'm not juiced up on Novocaine. All my teeth are back together. I'm ready to go. Welcome to the show, Guru and English Professor. Guys, this is going to be a great show. We have a lot to cover today.
What the hell did you do to piss Kelly off?
I didn't piss Kelly off.
Why'd she knock your teeth down your throat?
That's a long story.
Oh, wow. You got your teeth knocked down your throat.
Not knocked down my throat, just...
Busted up in his mouth. He didn't have a chance to swallow it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I had...
Quick story.
Do we need to get over this?
Go ahead.
I had an abscess, so I had it pulled out, but apparently Isaac Yankum hit a nerve. I had to go to the ER to get penicillin because it was corroding in my mouth or whatever. And at one point, I was like ripping the banister and shingles off of my house at the same time because it was just the pain. And the doctor said, well, if it hurts tomorrow, come back. This was at 5 o'clock in the evening, and I was legit ready to blow the rest of my teeth out of my mouth with a gun that I don't even have, and that's a joke, guys. I would never do anything like that before.
But you were in a lot of pain.
I was in a shit ton of pain. So the doctor that I saw at the ER, she's like, do you need a doctor's excuse for tomorrow? I'm like, I'm going to go to work once this kicks in. It kicked in, like, instantly, and I slept until the next day at, like, 11 o'clock. There was no going to work. Thank God my wife thought about it, called my boss, and said, this idiot's sleeping, and he's not going to wake up anytime soon, so he's not going to be into work.
I talked to Mark, you guys, when right after this happened, and I've never heard him like that. I could hear him sweating over the phone. He was in so much pain. He was in, I would say, as much pain as Jose Luis Rivera after Greg Valentine broke his leg. The way he's like rolling around, writhing on the mat, holding his knee. I could, even though again we were by phone, I could hear Mark sweating, and I could hear him. You weren't seated, am I right? Were you like bouncing off the walls, running around?
I was. I legit was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And very quickly, one story. Speaking of dental procedures, I was at the dentist last Tuesday, not this past Tuesday, the Tuesday before. No cavities, never had a cavity in my life, but I went for a procedure. I guess I grind my teeth, and I had really worn away at my one tooth up top. I started to look like Fred Blassie from the days when he would file his teeth and bite his opponents. I looked like a vampire. So I guess he put like a little, I don't know, cap or whatever it would be on it, like an extension on that tooth. Did not require Novocaine. One of my molars in the back, well, all my molars are in the back. I don't know about you, Mark. But
no, I have a molar up front, actually.
Do you really? That's weird. Required, I don't know, some sort of cap for the same reason. So the dentist decided he wasn't going to Novocaine me up front, but he needed to Novocaine me in the back. Anyway, what came to mind was when we talked to Mr. Ginsburg, executive producer of The Wrestler in 350 Days, and he said he would rather, because his friend's a dentist, and he said, is it better to watch Raw or go to the dentist and have a tooth yanked or whatever? And I thought, he's crazy, he's exaggerating. And I thought, man, here I am sitting here. My mouth is numb. I'm getting a procedure that I need to get done. My dentist is a great, great baseball fan. We talk baseball. He played college, fairly competitive level. And I thought, yeah, this is better than Raw.
That's what you wanted to get to.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That really, tooth procedures can be more enjoyable than Monday Night Raw. If you know the dentist and your friends and you have something in common.
I actually enjoyed Raw better than the tooth procedure that I had. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I was miserable. And I didn't enjoy it at all. But
oh, wow.
Yeah. So
good one.
Hey, John, do you know that little comment you made about Fred Blassie? Do you know that he was responsible in Japan doing that? The whole pointed teeth and drawing blood, that a couple of people actually had a heart attack one night and died in the arena. 2 old ladies.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was attributed with it, and he felt bad behind the scenes about it. But then they asked him in the news how he felt about it. He was like, "It happens," and he spun it for major heat over there.
Hey guys, let's transition away, and there's a ton of stuff to talk about here in the opening, but one that we have to hold our glasses up, and literally seconds after we got done recording last week, we found out that the Ugandan headhunter, Kamala, passed away, and we all want to say a few words about him. I'll start. I've said it before. This guy scared the bejesus out of me as a child. Wasn't a fan. I was scared. On the same page as John, I thought he was going to either eat me or something in my dreams. But as I grew up, or whatever. Here we come with the bad English. As I got older, I learned to respect more of his matches. I really did, because I just kept going back and watching, and so underrated. So underrated for a big man. He didn't have to do, no disrespect to Bam Bam or anybody, but he didn't have to do the cartwheels like Vader and Bam Bam and everything. He just used his girth in his kind of wacky craziness of himself and made this character so damn believable. We've talked about matches here in the recent past. Him against so many people. He was sick for a while. One of our friends, when we used to have that the call-in show, Big Steve, how you doing, Big Steve? Knew Kamala pretty good. So, woo, Big Steve. But about Kamala, man, rest in peace, and I'll let you guys go, because we could keep going and going. So, one of you take over.
Funny you mentioned Big Steve. I was thinking about him. When he used to call in, he used to be sure to mention Kamala's name, that they were friends. So Big Steve, if you're listening, we're sorry, man. We're sorry for the loss of a friend. As an entertainer, as a wrestler, he was a lot of fun. He didn't stick around promotions very long, but I think you guys would agree that whenever he showed up somewhere, it was fun. And even though it was maybe going to be the same story told again and again, there was always a bit of a different spin on it. He was fun, no matter where he showed up, whichever stable he belonged to. He was a good time. And apparently he was, from the interviews I've seen and from people talking about him, he was a decent human being. Mark, you mentioned regretting that we never met him. We did meet the Brooklyn Brawler. And if you wonder what the connection is, I had him autograph some different pictures. And when we went to the one picture in the WWF magazine, I asked Brawler, I said, "Is this you?" And I pointed to a picture of Kimchi with Kamala, and the Brawler said, "Yeah, that is me." I'm like, "Okay, do you mind signing that Friday or Kimchi or whatever you want?" And he paused for a second, and he said, "They cut his legs off." And we said, yeah, we heard. And the Brawler said, "I told him he needed to lose weight. We all did. We always told him." And this isn't, the point of this is not to talk about James Harris's health, but the fact that people cared about him. He was a well-liked wrestler in the locker room. His fellow wrestlers really cared about him. And you talk about guys that no one's ever had a bad word to say. I don't know anyone that's ever had legitimate beef with Kamala. There was that instance where he and Andre got into it in the ring and kind of shook hands afterwards. But other than that, no one's ever had a bad word to say about Kamala.
Do you have a cricket in your house?
There are crickets outside, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, like you guys said, Kamala was one of the last heels that actually scared you shitless. You know, it was kind of like Brody coming down swinging a frickin' logging chain and people just scattering. Kamala wasn't far behind that. You know, he was before his time. Jarrett and Jerry Lawler actually pulled him out of a wrestling event in Memphis, and that's how he got his break. Very agile. He started out at like 340, 350 pounds, but he just way before his time. He didn't do anything that didn't fit the craziness of the Ugandan giant, you know. I'll always remember seeing him in UWF and that when he was always bug-eyed and slapping his stomach and everything. That was always good for a laugh. It was just funny the way he did it. It's just a couple of years before he got his legs removed for diabetes, he lost everything in Hurricane. I can't remember what one.
Was it Katrina?
Louisiana. I can't.
Yeah,
I believe it was Katrina. He lost everything, and that was, you know, like I said, not long before he lost his leg. He was a good guy. He was always lighthearted. Like John said, nobody had a problem with him. Real quick story.
What do you call it? You're karate chopping me. What the hell do you want?
Real quick story about him. Listening to Cornette, he told this last night that they were always prone in the circuit, because it was a 7-day circuit down in Memphis. So they were always prone to doing jokes on the guys because you traveled the same roads to the same towns week after week. So he said old Jerry Jarrett had gotten, you know, like on Smokey and the Bandit where he'd put the light out on top of it.
Down, loading up and trucking.
Not quite that.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't singing, thank God. But he would put the police light on his car and stop wrestlers and just screw with them.
That's awesome.
So Jarrett did this one time and they got Kamala because he was driving by himself. So they pulled him over and Jarrett on the microphone, you know, get out of your car, face away from me, your hands over your head, blah, 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 walk backwards. And he did all that. Well, Jarrett gets out. Kamal doesn't know. He hasn't seen them. He's scared shitless. Not to be rude, but he's a person of color, 300 and some pounds in the deep South in the middle of the night. You know, he was like, I'm going to listen to everything. Well, Jarrett goes up and he frisks him down the arms and hands and down the legs and everything like that. And the sick part of it was, but funny, old Jarrett reaches up between Kamal's legs and grabs his junk. And he said, Cornette was saying, Lawler told him this, Kamala didn't bat an eyelash, he just tensed up. And Jarrett was like, what are you doing, boy? And that's when Kamala realized who it was. Just absolutely started whipping the shit out of him.
Oh my
wrestling,
God.
Pissing around, threw him on the car and everything like that. And they get to the arena and they said they had to put, Kamala was supposed to be like second on the card that night. They had to put him to the next to the last match, like 5 matches later, because he couldn't stop laughing about the shit that they did to him.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
That's
a
awesome.
great story. So Kamala, rest in peace. We'll hold our drinks up to you guys. Us guys will hold the drinks up to you. So rest in peace, Kamala. In studio today, by the way, I want to thank Sticker Mule. Now, Sticker Mule didn't make the buffalo chicken dip that we have. The wife did. But Sticker Mule, when we ordered our last stickers, sent us a bottle of really hot sauce. We tried it last week, a little bit on our finger, and it was too hot for me. I'm like, nope, too hot, not doing this. Chad was going to take it home, and then the wife decided, we're going to make buffalo chicken dip for you fat asses next week to eat. So that's what's in studio this week. You had coffees and cookies last week. We have buffalo chicken dip.
And wine.
Kelly's buffalo chicken dip is second to no one.
Yeah, so you're missing out. Guys, I want to give you an update on the sticker contest that we have going on. I got about 6 or 8 in, roughly. Nobody's got it right so far. Not one person is close. John, they are all agreeing that, yes, I am the host, I am the champ, because I spilled that last week. But John's not reading a book just because he likes to read. The whole English professor thing, yes, but there's another reason why John is reading the book. Look at the graphic. And no, Chad is not John's favorite tag team, the Road Warriors. So that
they're going in the right direction.
They're going in the right direction there, but he is not a new member of the Road Warriors. So look a little bit deeper at both things. We want to give some of these stickers away. If you just say, fuck it, I'm done playing the game, and you want to buy a sticker, the big ones are $5, the little ones are $3. Let me know, and I'll get them out to you. Enough said. Good? Good?
Good.
Anything else? Those crickets are worse than your echo last week.
Yeah, they're holy cow, they're like.
Now I'm hearing it.
Right? Your goddamn office is unbelievable.
A freaking zoo in there has got snakes. And
all right, close the one window.
Shit. Okay. The one right behind you is probably going to be the one that's going to be the worst one. All right, so let's start. Screw it. I'll bring it up. I sent you the picture. Chad's got his in hand. Took some of the collar and elbow money, and I bought you guys a present this week. Mine's already hanging in studio, and 12 by 12 canvases of the new logo. What do you guys' takes on them? Because I want pats on the back is what I want, and I want to tell you guys that I've actually bought you presents. So, John, you got a picture?
First of all, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's really kind of you. You sent it to me. I didn't know I was getting one of these, but you sent it to me, and I said, "This is really sweet." And you said you got one coming. One of these is yours. It's really, really nice. Really well done. I love it. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Very cool. Mark was trying to hint around to me when I got here.
He didn't
Notice
even see
anything different? I'm not looking up. I'm drinking. I'm on my second bottle of wine tonight. I'm not looking up. He has to basically point it out. I'm like, oh, holy shit, that's pretty damn cool. And he hands me one. Very cool of you. Not bad for a Detroit fan.
Right. Well, of course, it is Detroit colors. It's a blue on orange background. Maybe we'll post it later so you guys can see it. But it's a pretty cool canvas. They came quick with our new graphic on it, and the graphic is legit us. It really is. That's all it is. Me drinking, you guys doing your thing. Look a little bit closer if you want a sticker, guys, and we'll send you one for free. Look a little bit closer. All right, let's actually talk about wrestling as we're 20 minutes into this godforsaken show of eating and doing this and that. Let's start with AEW. Yeah, why not? Let's just start with AEW. Who wants to take the lead? Anybody?
You
go ahead, Chad.
He doesn't remember the matches. He doesn't have them written down.
Remember. I'm just.
All right.
There was nothing overly impressive about AEW to me this week. It was a good show. It was a consistent show. The one thing I will say I did like is...
you can't sum it all up. We're going to break it down.
Well, then...
You can't sum it all up. I'm going to eat this piece. All right.
Okay. What about the 3 people that they let go?
Are we going to start there?
Get that out of the way.
They've released Jimmy Havoc, Priestley, and Sadie Gibbs. Jimmy Havoc was part of the movement. And I want to say the gals are just because they're stuck in the UK. Really?
That's the feedback that I've seen on it. They're just releasing them, liability reasons, contract reasons. Havoc, even with what he's done, from what I've seen, he's having a lot of difficulty with his rehab. So they're still taking care of him with that. And they said after, Tony Khan said, after he gets through the rehab and everything like that, they definitely welcome trying him back again.
So,
and that's kind of what I figured too. I was surprised seeing that they really need women for that division. But I gathered that all three of these scenarios are probably temporary.
Priestley, I thought was going to be a bigger player. And I thought maybe she would, because her and Britt kind of, from the get-go, had something going, and then that was put off, and Britt has had a couple injuries. Britt has gone a different way now than even dealing with Priestley. But I thought she was going to be a bigger player. Gibbs, I don't know. I don't have a lot on Gibbs. And Havoc was just somebody, I don't want to say a body to be filled in, because he did some stuff. He worked with Sabian and everything. But he was the harder edge guy that, you need a win over Marco's stunt just to get something harder. Whatever. But in retrospect, I think you're both right. I think they will all wrap back around and come back. Like Chad said, it's a liability thing. All right. Let's talk about Dynamite now. The Young Bucks take on Stu and Evo Uno. I don't know. I think the finish of this match sucked. Really bad. It did!
That is not the best.
Yeah.
No, it did! It was just a shitty finish. Because we can talk about the match, but
why?
Legit, Stu Grayson watched until the 2 7/8 count to make a move. He was in the corner on the prowl like a kitty cat. Oh, I better jump now. Slide the whole way out of the goddamn ring. Or get tangled up in the ropes or something. It just was bad.
You missed the best part of this match, didn't you?
No, I didn't miss anything in this match because I hated it.
Of whatever Shark Boy Uno or whatever the fuck he was in the cockroach going behind him on the stage. Have you seen the video of that? Yeah, you gotta go look.
That's the favorite part of this match.
That was the best part of the match. This big old cockroach. You see, as I have a close-up on him, it comes from the left-hand side of the ramp and goes right across the ramp, and it's visible. I mean,
damn it.
Funny as hell.
I'll have to go pull it back up. All right, John's going to spill, so I can go get a beverage.
All right. Was it you, Chad? Were you talking about the Dark Order? Was it last week or the week before where you said these guys need to start winning some matches to be taken seriously?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and I feel that way. I do. I understand why the Bucks won, especially because they were going to be involved in a segment later on with the Brainbusters, the Rock and Roll Express, and FTR. You don't want them coming out there as losers, but at some point, these guys got to win some matches if they're going to be taken seriously as a major heel faction. As for the match itself, I have the note tolerable, and what I mean by that is the Bucks turn it way, way down. Dark Order, those guys are a good team. Some good tag team wrestling going on. Young Bucks weren't flying all over the damn place. And I'm with you, Mark. The ending, the roll-up.
Sucked.
You know, we talk about how...
Sucked.
Yeah,
say it.
Yeah, we talk
say
about
it.
how...
Say it.
Athletes
say it.
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked.
Okay.
Athletes evolve. And what beat you 20 years ago won't beat you today. When's the last time you saw a roll-up win a match? And I know he stacked them and everything, but I was surprised by that. I would have rather seen like some sort of quick, stunning cutter type move to knock the guy out, but a roll-up while his partner was in the back.
Waving at him. Did Evil Uno never take tape off his wrist before in his life? Because he did it twice in this match, and he struggled 3 times doing it. It looked horrible. And I'm a fan of Dark Order, and I was disappointed from the get. MJF pushes a kid out of his way. It's just, he's walking to the ring. He's walking to the ring, and this kid was kind of being like a bodyguard for him. And all of a sudden, MJF just shoves him into the wall and says, "Get out of my shot, kid. I died." That's what I marked out.
That was the same guy that didn't hang up the poster at exactly a 90-degree angle the way he likes.
Right.
Mark my words, they're going to wrestle. As soon as he pushed him, I said, that guy's not going to take much more of this. He's either going to turn on MJF at some point, and then we'll see Wardlow jump him, or MJF just fires him, and Wardlow, beats him up, and he's not part of that group anymore. But he's not going to take this for much longer, that guy.
That was a recreation of what happened to MJF in NXT.
No.
With Samoa Joe.
Is that what they're talking about the whole time this week? And I was like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, Samoa Joe going down to the ring and had the guys around him, and he comes out of the dressing room and he's walking up, and MJF was a little bit in front of him, and Joe just, fuck out of my way. So it was a recreation of what he went through as a paid extra a few years ago.
I love it. Love it. Brilliant.
Did you see the breakdown of the votes as well? MJF has 500% of the votes. Moxley has negative 1,000. So theoretically, he's up 1,500 points,
I guess,
over Moxley in votes. And so are people voting like 25 times? Is that what it is for him?
How do you vote? I didn't even.
I think he's got.
Is there a 900 number?
Jesus, my mom's rolling over the grave right now by you saying that.
He's probably got some robot program or whatever in his mom's basement that he's running or something like that to vote for him.
This forum again was amazing. Shots fired. And then all of a sudden Moxley comes out of the back as he's going up to the Vooms. Everybody go to the Vooms! Everybody goes to the Vooms! And then MJF gets his ass beat. Man, they're doing it right.
That was a great beating, and that's what this story needed too, because he's been running his mouth for a while. I think he wins the belt. I do think he wins the belt. But this was great. My son completely marked out, jumped out of his seat, jumped up and down, did the suck it thing to MJF once Moxley ran into the ring and gave him the paradigm shift. He hates MJF, and he just loves John Moxley from his days as part of the Shield.
Yeah, it was about time they had Moxley do something like this. When he hit him with that paradigm shift, I legitimately thought MJF hurt his freaking neck on that, because he took that son of a bitch
straight up and down.
Champ.
Yeah, straight up and down.
Bad.
Hardy comes out. He's not cleared for 10 days. They're going to run with his story. That's probably not a story that he's not cleared for 10 days. It really isn't. Chad told us that, it was a real chair that he got hit with. He sees somebody walking by, and they said Hardy's not going to have gimmicks anymore. Well, now he's just going to be seeing people as he beats the Christ out of Mike Posey, the referee, because he thought it was Sammy Guevara. I don't know where this is going.
It's kind of silly. Poor guy got beat up because he thought he was Sammy Guevara. I think you're going to have a good program. I think eventually Guevara goes over, and it's probably about time he starts to win some matches and beat some legitimate guys. I wonder, because I haven't watched any WWE television, I wonder if his brother joins him at some point. I know he was getting kind of a push there as U.S. champion or Intercontinental champion or something at some point, but that changes day to day on WWE TV. But I'd love for the Hardys to get it on with the Young Bucks at some point, or FTR. I'd love to see the Hardys one last shot in AEW.
The Jeff Hardy is actually in a storyline right now with AJ Styles for the IC Championship. So that's going to take place
That's what I know.
at SummerSlam. So you knew a little bit.
Yeah, you're not missing much with WWE program.
Yeah, don't worry.
Outside of NXT.
We got you covered. Next matchup was Scorpio Sky against Cody for the TNT Championship. How about the ref that they scooped up? Do you know this ref, John?
Yeah, Kyoto.
Yeah.
Was he goes back a long, long way. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken,
Like
he
38
was the
years, bro.
referee. Yeah. He was the referee for Razor Ramon versus 1-2-3 Kid when the Kid got the upset. Like Razor, when they turned Razor good by losing to the Kid, I'm almost positive he was referee for that, which was like, I don't know, 92, 93, something like that. But he's been in the business a long time. And
You can
Chris Jericho.
You can remember that, but you can't remember how to fuck to get on our website, on the WWE Network, or how to sharpen a pencil.
You're going to bring – see, I turned to you for help. And what do you do? Throw it out there on the air.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
I texted Mark, what's our website again? I promise I'll document it this time. Anyway.
And those are lies. What did you think of this match?
What the hell match was it again? I'm sorry.
Cody against Scorpio Sky. You're here for the food and drink today. That's it.
It went as, as kind of expected. Figured they'd have a decent competitive match and everything. I like the finished title. This was just what kind of expected. I didn't think the guy stood any chance on beating him, but they're still going to tease that.
Good match, though, right? I mean, good chain wrestling, escalated to fighting outside, and a very basic formula, but it was entertaining.
I think this next match that Cody is going to have, because I agree with Tony and JR, the grind is getting way too tough for Cody. Each week you see that he loses a little bit more. And I think it's time that he's got the shine. He gave the title a nice shine. It looks great. It's polished. It's the new title. I think TNT can do without Cody being a champion, or get him set up for his next run down the line, and forget about him for a little bit so he can fight against MJF when MJF wins a title. I think Brody Lee is your next TNT champion, because it's going to happen.
How did he have a belt?
He had the
I was a
old
little
one.
Confused by that. What did I miss?
He had the new titles there, and then the old one was just, apparently, they just lay it backstage.
They
just left it somewhere and he picked it up.
I'm guessing it's just, if it was a storyline all along that this is where they were going to go, we don't have a finished title or whatever, then he gets a finished title. Well, how the hell did he get a hold of the other one? He got it out of Tony Khan's office or something like that. It's a good play on who's the real champion. I have a belt. You have one.
John has a belt. Jurassic Express against Hangman and Omega. This is for the titles again. How did they get another title shot, first of all? All right, that's one question for you guys to answer during the question. If you were reading the subtitles, what the hell is wrong with Hangman's lawnmower that he needs to borrow money to get a new lawnmower? I don't understand that.
The engine blew.
When did his engine blow? When did we know about this? Who was there?
Every week.
I understand every week we get something,
gives
but
us an update.
I didn't read last week that the engine blew in the lawnmower.
No, it wasn't about that. It was something about his days sober or something like that again last week.
Like a half a day sober or something.
I don't even think it was that.
I don't know. But I'm just saying, all of a sudden, we have to start a GoFundMe for Hangman Adam Page because the poor guy needs a lawnmower. I need somebody to cut my grass. I don't want a lawnmower. I want somebody to cut my grass. Go ahead.
this match was okay. With Luchasaurus getting the hot tag at one point, I'd like to see, he's a big guy. I'd like to see some power moves out of him when he cleans house. The slap in the leg, it pisses me off. And go back and listen to our Manny Fernandez interview, guys. He hates that shit. We hate it too. I hate to be this way. We're in no position to nitpick, but when it's that obvious, it's hard to ignore. The way this guy hits his leg, and the flips, which are great, and he's super athletic for a guy his size. When he comes in the ring, I would like to see a little bit more of the not so choreographed, I grab you by the throat, now I grab you by the throat. Just throw some guys around, slam some guys down. Let's see a side suplex. Let's see a boss man slam. Let's see a big boot that sends Omega out of the ring. Let's see a gorilla press on Omega or something. Show me some power moves already. Everybody's doing the same thing. I thought the match was okay. I thought it could have been so much better. Marco Stunt's involvement, Chad, your point of view of this guy is starting to grow on me. This guy's getting on my nerves.
Hell
He's
yeah!
getting on my nerves.
I didn't like the floppy hat.
Anywhere near a ring.
I didn't like the floppy hat. JR was happy with the floppy hat. I hated it. He can't pull it off. Plus, put a shirt on. You're not in the ring. Put a goddamn shirt on.
Yeah, Mark, no, just go on. I don't.
Okay.
Do you think Omega turns, or not Omega, very quickly, do you think Paige turns?
Yes.
Eventually, at some point?
Yes.
Do you think they're waiting for a crowd, or what do you think they're waiting for?
I don't think you can wait for a crowd anymore. We
No,
said that.
I don't think so either.
We said that March, April, even into a little bit of a May. Dude, they're not getting crowds anytime this year. I don't care where anybody goes. We're not getting crowds anytime this year. Somebody's going to have to pull off the big twist. We need Sasha Bailey this year. Otherwise, everything they're doing in WWE is for naught. We need something. We just need something. Otherwise, we're watching the same wrestling across the board. I love it, but somebody's got to say, screw it, it's on the line. And I think the Hangman Omega thing needs to happen. Santana and Ortiz find the best friend stuff, and they bleach the hell out of it. These guys are dicks. I love it. Just straight up grab their luggage and bleach everything. That's something that we would have did in high school. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great segment. Cheryl, my wife, was watching with us, and she's like, she couldn't believe it. She was appalled that somebody would do something like that. And then when she noticed, like, it wasn't really doing anything that bleach should do, she used the F word, guys. The 4-letter F word.
Whoa!
She said, I think the bleach is fake. And my son lost his shit. He's like, no, Mom, it's real bleach. They don't like them. Like, they smashed their mom's car. It's real bleach. He's like, oh, yeah, no, you know what? I'm sorry, you're right. No, that's real bleach. But, yeah, I would think you would see, instantaneously, you'd see the bleach take effect and, like, eat away at the colors. That didn't exactly happen, but I believe it was real bleach.
It wasn't a brand name bleach. It was like a Top Crest or something. So it took a little bit longer than the 3 minutes right off the bat. John, you probably hate the Butcher and the Blade. You probably hate the Butcher and the Blade. All night, tag teams were saying who their favorite tag team was, and the Butcher and the Blade brought up the Road Warriors.
I knew they were going to say that. I just had a feeling when they said, you know, we're a smash mouth team, and here's how we operate. I said their favorite team is going to be the Road Warriors. I think some of these favorites, what were there, 2 of them? Hangman and Omega gave their favorite, saying it was the Young Bucks, and the Butcher and the Blade said it was the What's that?
Oh, I was just going to say, actually, Twinkle Toes McFuckbun, or whatever his name is, Omega, said that it was the Young Bucks.
You knew it,
names them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Private Party like the Hardys.
Picks were works, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
The picks were works.
Yeah. So we talked about the whole thing about the Young Bucks, Arn and Telly and Rock and Roll Express. Brief over this, really brief. I love that Arn Anderson hates Telly Blanchard right now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I got out of this. I'm pumped. And FTR beats the shit out of Ricky Morton. God rest his soul. I love Ricky Morton. And he's not dead. I'm praising Allah all of a sudden.
Jesus.
I'm praising Allah all of a sudden. But if you want to piss anybody off in the world, beat up Ricky Morton. That's perfect.
Yeah, what a segment, man. So many stories being told here. Paying homage to the people that came before them, the people that came before them, telling them, hey, we love what you're doing. You've taken things to the next level. And then you have Tully Blanchard, who didn't say much of anything until he took the microphone. He was like, yeah, I've kind of had enough of this. Here's what I'm thinking. And, he wants a title shot for his guy, is what it looks like. And then Arn's like, all right, I see where this is going. And he leaves. Great story told there. And then I thought that would have been the end of it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're going to have Arn's guy versus Tully's guy. I wonder if they get into it. Because every team throughout history pretty much turned on one another at some point. Rare exceptions. Tully and Arn are like one of the few exceptions, right? They never turned on each other. They never fought each other.
And the Rock and Roll Express.
I thought was a great story.
They did.
Oh.
They did. Yeah, they did at one point.
That's right. When he went to the York Foundation.
With the York Foundation. Yep. Which was...
I loved it. I loved it.
That broke my heart. But I never saw this coming. What FTR did to the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton, you're a superstar still. And they hit him with the pile driver, right? The spike pile driver?
Yes.
He took that. That looked devastating. I couldn't believe it. And my wife was still watching. She couldn't believe they did that. She's like, who are these guys? And I said, they're the Rock and Roll Express. She's like, oh, wow. When did they wrestle? I'm like, they were super popular in the early 80s. She's like, I can kind of tell. She's no fun sometimes. Great segment. I enjoyed it.
I love that the FTR did this. I see them trying to pull this story of the FTR are pricks, and let's get more behind the, Hulk Buck and his brother Ultimate Warrior Buck.
Oh, I was what? Okay.
And I just see him doing it that way. It kind of broke my heart doing it to the Rock and Roll Express, but
I don't think Arn or Tully could take it.
It was good. Tully's like what? $120 now? He looks like that little green alien with the long, skinny legs and arms and shit you see everywhere.
Marvin the Martian?
No, the tall one that you see with the big egg head and everything.
Oh. All right.
Anyway, good say.
And Arn's got a bad neck.
Yeah. Arn's got a bad everything. Disposition as well, too, sometimes. Next match, squash match. Sheeta beat the shit out of Heather Monroe. And then we get to the main event. Orange Cassidy against Jericho. Jericho wins. He gets $700 million trillion, a new jacket, this, that, and the other. I like this match. I was nodding during this match because my drugs kicked in again. But I like this match. I really did. Setting up for part 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved Orange Cassidy in this match. This was a nice twist on his character. He's always a little lethargic, right? He's always lazy. He does the silliness with the kicks to the legs and the big wind-up. He didn't do that in this match. He was tenacious. So we saw a side of him that we needed to see. We saw something different out of him. He went after Chris Jericho. The only time he did that silliness, it wasn't with the kicks, it was with the punches, but he really had nothing left. Jericho had kind of kicked the shit out of him. And he gets, I'm going to say, an upset win over Chris Jericho. But really, really fine match. Great way to end the show.
Yeah, this was a good match. Orange Cassidy's getting away from more so from the stupidness that he did at the beginning in that, and he's showing that he has talent and it's not just little spots. And for Chris Jericho to want to have, a series and everything like that. That says a lot with him. I think we ought to start a GoFundMe for Jericho to get his jacket cleaned, because that mold is growing more and more on the jacket every week.
It's orange mold. I've never seen orange mold in my life, but whatever.
Kyoto wouldn't do business, by the way. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Jericho's like, hey, we go back a long way. I guess you got him a job? How, though?
Kiki. Do my job, Kiki.
But how? He was with the WWE for generations. What job did Jericho get him?
The WWE job. Apparently he was on the line to be fired at one point, and Jericho saved his life.
He helped him keep his job. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to do a little bit of a different thing this week. We're going to split right there on Wednesday night. When we come back, we're going to talk about NXT, and then since Chad dropped the ball, we have questions to answer, but it's intriguing, and I have some information that I can't wait to release, which kept me busy for about 8 hours today.
Drugs?
It's not drugs. Oh. It's not drugs yet. Again, maybe, but we'll talk about it. But before we do that, we always have to talk about our favorite apparel brand, Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, sweats, and shorts. All great designs, and you get a 10% discount once you use the promo code CANCRUSHERS. Capital C in can, capital C in Crushers. Use it, and you'll get money back, and it's awesome. Correct?
Absolutely it is. Today's a laundry day for me, and as I was sorting my laundry, I looked at my Collar and Elbow shirts. I'm like, I can't wait to wash these and put them on again. They're comfy, and they're very cool.
I think I got bit by something during that segment. I have it's like, I don't know if a spider bit me or something. All right. But
does Collar and Elbow have a discount code for senior citizens that are Al Snow's age?
120?
104.
Well, no, he ages like a dog.
Oh, damn.
So, he's already 120.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah. Our code is Can Crushers. All one word, capital C in can, capital C in Crushers, and you'll get some money off. When we
10%.
When we come back, we'll touch on NXT and do a little bit something different because Chad shit the bed.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is Bass Jesus Billy Starks, and you're listening to the Out of the World podcast of Can Crushers.
Welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor, joined by your host, Mark Martinez and Chad the Guru. Very quickly, Mark, we were talking earlier about the Yankees and the Red Sox. I want to give a shout out here. The Yankees kicked the shit out of the Red Sox yesterday. They're beating them today, and they're about to add on. So, Mark, tell your cousin Becky the Yankees said, "What's good?"
Becky, I have. This is Chad. I have nothing to do with this. It's rude. I'm telling you, it's just rude.
It's rude. A day after meeting both Becky and Sue, you might have met Sue before, but you've never met Becky before a day in your life. And then you put, I don't know what it was, a cat shitting on a Red Sox or a Yankee, I don't know.
It was a Yankees hat being used as a diaper.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you and Becky are going on a date next week, and you're hanging out here.
Everybody hates the Yankees.
You're Patriot fans as well.
Oh, fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
All right, let's go to NXT. How about that?
All right. Sounds good.
Cash me outside. How about that? That's
Nice.
That's probably about, 8 years ago?
Something like that. She's doing really well for herself, that girl. Sorry, go ahead.
Is she? Do you actually know this?
Yeah. Yeah, she started not a record label, but I think she had a rap album or something like that. I'm not making this up. I had some success. Good for her.
I figured she'd be a stripper. I really did.
She did that too.
You know who I miss? I miss Rebecca Black. The gal. It's Friday, getting down on Friday.
Who the fuck are you talking about?
Look up the Friday song.
No idea.
Really? You guys don't know the Friday song? It was that actually played a lot when I was with the Erie Seawolves. We played that a lot on Fridays, of course. Imagine that, huh? All right. Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, Crisscross Applesauce takes on Danny Burch. At first, I wrote down, because I thought this was going to be a quick match, I said, man, his entrance is longer than his match is going to be. I was wrong. This ended up being a decent match. Danny Burch is a notable opponent. Hard-fought match, but Kross wins, and what happens after the match tells the story of NXT overall. Because the rest of NXT is okay.
This was fucking great. You knew something was going to happen. What was going to happen? They couldn't, pull a couple of years ago when Dean Ambrose gave Seth Rollins his Money in the Bank briefcase back and Rollins opened it and green shit shot all over him. They couldn't do something like that, obviously, with the contracts. What the hell are they going to do? The fireball was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is one of the best uses of a fireball in years.
When did they get it in, Chad? When did they get the fireball in?
I don't know how the hell they did it. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I want to know how they did it. This is one time.
It was heavily edited. But
it looked fucking good.
It did. John, go ahead. Sorry, I'm eating this segment.
Yeah. So I'm going to agree with both of you individually and then kind of disagree collectively. What I mean by that is, yes, Mark, the match was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be very quick. Yes, Chad, what happened afterwards was pretty freaking awesome with the contracts and the fireball. This match, though, was clearly to put over the Cross-Lee story.
Duh!
Of course, right?
Yeah.
I would have rather seen just a good old-fashioned contract signing to open up the show.
What?
I know I always say I want to, right? I'm always the one saying start it with the match. I know I'm the guy that always says start it with the match. But if this is what the end result was going to be, then just start it with the contract signing. The match, it was okay, but there was never a doubt in my mind Karrion Kross was going to win fairly convincingly.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. But Kross has been coming out for 18 weeks now. It wasn't 18 weeks, maybe 83 weeks. Knock on Eric Bischoff. Whatever. He's been coming out after every match that Keith Lee has. So he wanted redemption of coming out himself. And he's like, hey, I got the contract that you can wipe your ass with. Sign it or don't. So it kind of, boom, it comes to a head right there. And sometimes you use a head as a bathroom as well. So I kind of, couple butt jokes in that one.
Good one.
The only problem I had with the match that I thought it should not have gone this long.
Was long.
It should have been a squash. That's the only thing that I had problem with it. Again, love the fireball. I've always loved the proper use of it. Back to Cornette lighting Ronnie Garvin up and saying that Ronnie Garvin went up like the challenger.
Impromptu question to both of you. Who's had the best fireball in wrestling?
Jerry Lawler.
Wow. The best fireball in wrestling. The Jim Cornette one to Ronnie Garvin, that was memorable, the one you mentioned, Chad. There was one. It was at the Garden. It was after Hulk Hogan beat Sergeant Slaughter.
Were you there?
For the title at WrestleMania 7. I was not there. I was in New York at the time visiting family. I wasn't there at the Garden, but I watched it on the network. That one was really convincing. Hulk Hogan, actually, Slaughter had been doing all the heelish things he'd been doing with the pointed boots and the flagpole and everything, and Hulk Hogan started to use some of those same tactics and threw a fireball in Sergeant Slaughter's face that looked really convincing. Actually, to start the match, he threw fire in his face to start the match and then threw napalm in his eyes at the end of the match. Hulk was brutal in the early 90s. But probably the best flame ever thrown was when Hulk Hogan went to throw it in the Ultimate Warrior's face in WCW and blew it up in his own face and no-sold it. Dark, dark days in WCW.
I'm going to actually give a shout-out to Sean Phoenix burning the face of Otis Cogar off, that he was out of wrestling for about a year and a half in IWC. You can see that on the IWC network for only $9.99.
Yeah, good pick, man.
I want to say the best one that I've seen and the best one throwing him overall was Jerry Lawler. And thinking back to a match that he had with Kamala, Lawler, when he used to do the fireball, used to actually put the fluid in his hand. He'd have a puddle of the lighter fluid in his hand, and that's how he'd throw it. Well, when he did this one on Kamala, he had a bit more than anticipated and threw it in his face, and Kamala's face was actually burning. It was just nasty fireball. But that was old school, where they did shit like that, and then the next day they were, out at Chuck E. Cheese's eating.
Snorting cocaine.
Yeah.
Next matchup should not have happened. I didn't care about Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. Half of the match was on half of the TV, because we were watching Keith Lee getting trucked down to Chuck E. Cheese or into the hospital or whatever. And then the other
medical facility.
And then the other half was the Undisputed Era beating all of them up and calling out Adam Vinatieri or Jeff Reed or whatever his name is, Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. Terrible segment. Terrible. Just made no sense.
It wasted the Undisputed Era. It was a bad segment for the Undisputed Era.
That's when Cole said to McAfee or whatever, he was like, "Oh yeah, real big man. Two guys were holding me when you kicked me, and your kick even sucked. My grandmother kicks harder." Okay, typical Adam Cole. He's a bastard, and just love it.
Next matchup was Santos Escobar, our boy, against Tyler Breeze, and he didn't need the rest of the Familia. This was a decent match. The Familia had to come back out, and then Swerve came back out. It's just setting up a six-man for next week. And I hope our boys, the La Familia, just beat the shit out of everybody.
This was the first part of the show so far that made any kind of sense to me. We argued about the opening segment, but this made the most sense. I think we can at least agree that this segment made the most sense in the show so far. Tyler Breeze has been kind of silly now for a while, so I like the change of pace here. He took this match pretty seriously, and he looked determined. It reminded me, going back to AEW with Orange Cassidy. As silly as he is and the character he plays, he took that match with Jericho very seriously. This was kind of the same idea. This was the first part of NXT I actually enjoyed.
It was a good match. You guys had talked about the group for the last couple of weeks, and I had seen them but not really paid attention. This was the first match I kind of watched. They look just like they're feeding off of each other, like they know where each other is going. They don't look like they're just a bunch of jackasses thrown together like full-blooded Italians.
Hey!
2/3 of them are from Wackahawkee, Tennessee, or wherever the fuck they were from. This looks good. I like this group.
The next part of NXT is actually where I started to like it. The Dakota Kai promo about her and Io, that's what got me going. Like, you guys have known I've always been a big fan of Dakota, especially the turn on Tegan and everything. This is actually where I started watching NXT and giving two shits about it. Neither one of you have anything.
Another good supportive, match storytelling. This is what NXT is. This is what they do, and this is what they do well.
I didn't love this. I'm sorry to disagree with you guys, but I thought overall, and we're not making comparisons yet, but AEW kind of kicked NXT's ass, and AEW was not even a great show.
Right.
NXT just looked a little disjointed. Kind of too many things going on at the same time. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that right now, because this next match I was just disgusted with. Indy Hartwell against Mia Yim. Mia Yim just makes it back from the hospital that she went with Keith Lee with. She's got to get her head straight, pa-da-da-da-da. Indy Hartwell's been busting her ass for weeks. Why not give Indy Hartwell the win over Mia Yim? It sets up something great. Mia Yim beat Indy Hartwell that doesn't have a win since she joined NXT. Awesome. And she's got a lot on her plate. Awesome. But what story does that tell now? At least build up Indy Hartwell that she gets a freaking win over Mia Yim. I don't care if it's a roll-up, it's a quick count, and, anybody, I was trying to say some names, but I was going to pull back my tongue because I wanted to not bury myself. But nonetheless, this just didn't make sense at all.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a fair point. As far as Indy Hartwell getting a win that could have elevated her a little bit and probably doesn't hurt Mia Yim. And in fact, it kind of tells a story where she's saying, she's on her way back and saying, I can't think about Keith Lee, or I've got to get my head on straight. Well, she loses the match. That kind of goes to the point that her head wasn't on straight. She had other things going on.
Is this a precursor to her losing the title in an upset? Is there something going on behind we haven't heard about it? It just seems like a weird storyline, a weird way to go with it. But we'll see what they pull with it.
Damian Priest against Bronson Reed. Man, they're pushing the hell out of Bronson Reed. That's all I got to say. But he's not going to be the North American champion. I'll guarantee you that. He's getting too big of a push before this ladder match to be North American champion.
Is he going to be like Keith Lee was in the Royal Rumble?
Yep.
Type deal where he's going to, holy shit.
And then in 6 months he'll do something.
Then, yeah, I see them doing that. Damian Priest, Punishment Martinez, whatever you want to call him. This dude just has the look of total asshole that will stab you in the back and take your wife and kids. That's the look that guy has.
Watch out, Cheryl, he's coming behind you! She can't hear. Go ahead, John.
No, I got the headphones in.
I know.
Something you want me to tell her?
No, you didn't listen to that whole thing, how he's going to take the wife and the kids. I was trying to save your wife, but never mind.
Oh, he's the kind of guy that, okay, what Chad was saying, yeah. I was surprised by how this match ended. I really like Damian Priest. I'm with Chad. He's got a great look. Looks really good in the ring. You're right, Mark. They're pushing Bronson Reed pretty heavily. I'm surprised he's advancing to that North American Championship match. I thought Priest, and I still think Priest probably would have worked better in that match.
They're both in it, John.
Oh, wait, what?
They're both in it.
They're both in a match.
I thought this was a qualifier, wasn't it?
No. This was just a
Oh!
This was just a pre-match before the match.
I thought like one of them was out if they lost this match.
No.
I don't know why I thought that. Okay.
No. Making your own rules. It's all right.
I guess, yeah.
Next matchup that we're going to talk about is my cousin Mercedes and Aaliyah taking on Casey Cadlazaro and Caden Carter. They try to get Casey to join, yada, yada, yada. Mercedes beats everybody ass, gets the win, and then Ripley comes out. I'm excited for the Mercedes Ripley match. I really am. I have a love for my cousin Mercedes, and I just want to see her beat the shit out of Ripley.
You're a Robert Stone fan, right? You're a fan of the Robert Stone brand?
I love the Robert Stone brand.
You kind of like Casey Catanzaro. Would you have wished that she had joined?
I think she's going to. She's going to realize. I love Casey, too. The way she climbs up the ring post to get into the ring. God, I would break Yeah. I would die doing that. No, I'm saying I would die doing that.
That was that was a definitive no, though. You think she's still going to end up joining?
Yeah, give her time.
Yeah. All right.
That's it? We're good?
That's it.
Okay. We go to the Garganos. Man, we need to get tracksuits.
Mark's been eating chips and chicken dip this entire time, you guys. That's why there's dead air.
I've legit been plowing this down. This is great. I love this sauce.
It is so good. I wish I were there.
Do you want to see it again?
Or, yeah, go ahead.
You can actually see it every time I'm shoveling it into my mouth, I'm sure.
Go ahead and take a bite, Mark, and I'll put it close so we can hear it.
No. Okay. We're at the Garganos, and first of all, there's so many things I want to talk about this. We need tracksuits, the three of us. I think we would look great in tracksuits.
It's going to be worse than what are those bunch of idiots, the ones for Shane McMahon?
The Mean Street Posse?
Yeah.
Or we can get those. Yeah, I've been, yes. All right, so we need tracksuits. Candace's dog could have given two shits if Meaty Bones or Chuck Wagon was driving down the street. He didn't want to be on TV at all. And then I like how they say goodnight to Doc Hendricks every night. Other than that, yeah, whatever. This promo did nothing for me. I only look for stupid stuff in it.
Yeah, I hardly paid attention to this promo, to be honest with you.
Well, I didn't know they were on, so that tells you how much there.
So let's talk about the main event. It's Cameron Grimes and Kushida in a returning Velveteen Dream. All right, so Cameron Grimes win. That's about the match that we need to know about. Velveteen Dream's going to be taking on Finn Balor next week for a spot. Let's start rolling the business out. Velveteen Dream's got a lot of allegations against him right now, and WWE has not answered any of them. Where do we go with Velveteen Dream? Because there's heat on him, and there's actually a lot of people that are pissed that he's back, that didn't know he was coming back Wednesday.
I don't know what to take of it, because nothing's been addressed. After I found out that he came back, I went looking, and like you said, a lot of people bitching, but there's just nothing being addressed with him. So I don't know. Is it something that's been a gag order? Have they settled? Was it unfounded bullshit? Just weird situation, but it doesn't.
Is it a farewell goodbye to him?
It doesn't surprise me that they're doing this.
Oh,
because this is just like the Ultimate Warrior, the Warrior Award, and is homophobic and ignorant and the nasty shit that the Warrior had to say, and WWE really refused to talk about that stuff. So, surprising, yet not surprising that he's back.
Touche. John?
Surprising, but not surprising. This was a great surprise. I love the Velveteen Dream. Let's not pretend this is the first time something like this has happened. There were allegations, serious allegations against Jerry the King Lawler. Took a little bit of time off. Eventually came back to TV. This is when he was doing commentary but still wrestling. He was still kind of in the middle of his feud with Bret Hart. Speaking of Bret Hart, there were some allegations against him at one point. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I do remember hearing something about Bret Hart with similar allegations. He didn't go anywhere.
He had a lot of sunny days, though.
Yeah, he did. Velveteen Dream is super talented. I'm glad to see he's back. I don't know what the deal is with the allegations, if they've been addressed. Apparently they haven't been. I'm certainly not advocating for my entertainment over the lives of victims. But it's pro wrestling, and WWE's brands, all of them, have not done anything remotely exciting or controversial for quite some time. Matter of fact, if you guys want something good to read, go to our website. There's a blog that I recently wrote.
It was shared on Facebook.
Yeah, I know. And it kind of discusses certain controversial topics in professional wrestling and how WWE hasn't really done anything that's grasped the imagination in quite some time. This is not a bad move. I don't know what his, again, I want to reiterate, I don't know what his legal situation is. This is not a bad move. You've brought back someone who's a hot commodity, great in the ring, larger-than-life character, good on the mic. And then, he gets the loss and then kind of snaps out after the match and puts a beat down on one of his opponents.
Kushida,
that's right. Yeah. This was my favorite part of the entire show. I kept waiting for the show to get started. This is where it kicked in for me. Good match. I'm a fan of the Velveteen Dream.
So we all agree that AEW won Wednesday in our book.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. This is where we're switching it up this week. Normally we cover a pay-per-view or a show or something, and it was legit this morning. I said, Chad, are we watching anything? And Chad's like, oh, it was my week to pick. So he brought that we bring questions to the table. So, of course, we'll start with Chad. Chad's got a question, John's got a question, and I got something. It's never a question with me because I'm a jackass.
It never is. You can't cooperate.
I cannot cooperate. I'm a child, and I change the rules once you guys think you know them.
Okay, so my question to you two,
and you're going to answer this as well,
and I'll answer it last. What are your favorite top 5 title changes? Any title, doesn't matter. Any era, doesn't matter. And what are the worst 2 title changes you've ever seen?
All right. I'll let John go first because I'm still eating.
Okay. Top 5 favorite title changes. Number 5 was Rick Rude beating the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 5. I was always a big Bobby Heenan fan from early on when he managed Stud and Patera and then Stud and Bundy. This was 5 years into Bobby Heenan being a manager in the WWF, never managed a champion. It started to seem like he never would. And by hook or by crook, with some cheating, he managed to finally manage a champion in Rick Rude. And then the Brain Busters went on to win the tag team titles, and the Brain had all kinds of gold in his family. So that's it at number 5. Ric Flair beats Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 5. Or Rick Rude beats Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 5. Number 4 is Ric Flair winning the championship back from Ricky Steamboat. Depending on revisionist history, they called it his 6th world championship. I don't think it took 6 world championships to solidify Ric Flair, but for me as a kid, it solidified Ric Flair. He'd been beaten, constantly won the belt back. This was one time I thought, this guy really has Flair's number. Beat him in tag team matches, singles matches. For Flair to win that back showed me this guy's the greatest. He'll beat anybody to get back the 10 pounds of gold. And at number 3, the Varsity Club, Mark. This one's for you, buddy.
Wow.
Mike Rotunda. Yeah. And Dr. Death, Steve Williams beating the Road Warriors. The Warriors got hosed by the manager of Doom.
Teddy Long.
Teddy Long screwed them over with the fast count. Varsity Club win the tag team championship.
Not my favorite Varsity Club. I like Rick and Mike better, but
yeah. At this point, I'm pretty sure Steiner was a good guy, and yeah, Spidey had taken his place. Not as fun as the original trio of guys with Sullivan, Rotunda, and Steiner. In at number 2 for the United States Championship, Starrcade 87, Dusty Rhodes beats Lex Luger. J.J. Dillon threw a chair into the ring. Luger bent down to pick it up. Boom! Dusty hits one of the most devastating DDTs I've ever seen on the chair, pins Luger and wins the belt. Luger turns face after this because he was tired of J.J. interfering in his matches and costing him matches. And then my favorite title change ever, I ran around my parents' pizza shop because I couldn't believe this actually happened. Mean Gene Okerlund says, "Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the new World Wrestling Federation champion." I thought it was Warrior. He came back, beat Ric Flair. Turns out to be Bret Hart. I never saw that coming. He'd won Intercontinental and Tag Team titles. I thought he was done. He got Ric Flair to tap out to the sharpshooter. That was his first World Championship. Title changes I didn't like. And not just because I don't like these guys, but the Road Warriors beating the Midnight Express. The Midnight Express became the first team to hold the United States and World Tag Team Championship at the same time. I think maybe 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in, the Road Warriors just kicked the shit out of them. Bloodied both of them. It wasn't even a match. And I thought, not really knowing, kind of knowing, is it real, is it not? I thought, man, it just kind of discredits the Midnight Express who have beaten everybody. And I get they were pushing the Road Warriors pretty hard, but this one disappointed me. And then the worst title change ever, guys. WrestleMania 9, not Yokozuna beating Bret Hart. I can live with that. Hulk Hogan coming out of the back and pinning Yokozuna a minute after he won the belt. That opened the floodgates to titles changing hands every 20 minutes or whatever.
All right, so I didn't do mine in order. I just put 5 down because I'm a jackass. So I'll read them in a different order than I have them written down. 1992 Royal Rumble, Flair winning that. It was a title change. It was a legit title change. Flair making his way in. I love it. Match 7 of Magnum and Nikita for the U.S. title. I love that. Steamboat, WrestleMania 3, winning the one of our favorite matches. Savage against Steamboat. You know, come on. This is 1 in 1A, honestly, in my book. And I'll go new earlier. Cody winning the NWA Championship from Aldis at All In 2018. Seeing that, and yes, the prestige from that NWA title that his dad had isn't there, but he had raw emotion. I'm a crier. He cried a little bit. I cried with him. I felt a connection with Cody. And then, guys, I talk about all the time, my favorite WrestleMania to this day is WrestleMania 4. So, Savage winning the tournament, title change there. One of my favorite matches. Least favorite, David Arquette winning the goddamn title, and Braun Strowman winning the tag team titles with my son, a middle schooler. Wasn't really my son, but
good stuff.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's the stuff I don't like.
Yeah,
I'm going to start with crap.
Where can I see, very quickly before Chad goes, where can I see that Cody Aldis match? Because I would love to see those two guys in a match together.
Probably.
You think YouTube has it? Or
no, Fight TV, I bet you have to buy the whole pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's all right.
Let me check DVD because that might be on one of the ones that I got, John, from when Mark and I went to the
I
Crockett
bet you that's
Cup.
70. It's on the. It might be on the.
I think it's on the 70. Yeah. Let me check that. And if I have it, we can get it to you.
Maybe when you get your present.
Awesome.
The two that I hated, and there's obviously tons either way through this. The Hogan-Nash finger poke of doom in 99, I was like, it was built up, thought it was maybe going to be a beatdown match, and it was a fucking finger poke and a pin. Oh. Both of them, I would have fired at that point. That just horrible. One that didn't make sense, and I watched a little bit of it today, again, was Sheamus beating John Cena for the WWE title at TLC 2009 in a tables match, where all Sheamus did was push Cena off of the rope. They were both on the top rope, and he just pushed him, and Cena fell through the table.
I don't remember that one.
That was the most dead match ending I've ever seen in my life. It's like, pushes him and Cena falls through the table. He didn't put him through the table. He didn't powerbomb. He didn't white noise him. He didn't kick him in the jimmy and throw him through the table. Nothing. He just pushed him. So that was horrible. Number 5.
Of like now. Now you're
like
the
ones that I like. Top 5. Rick Steiner beating Mike Rotunda for the TV title. This was when Steiner made his break from the Varsity Club, and he still had the goofy act, but holy shit was he physical in his matches. And the Steiner lines that he was hitting Rotunda with, and just a good match. And then Steiner rolls him up and pins him after Sullivan has a fuck up, and the fans popped, and Steiner does like 50 laps around the ring with the title in his mouth. Yeah. That was just some fun shit. Number 4, I got to go back to Magnum and Tully in the I Quit match at Starrcade 85. We've been over this match. Bloody, brutal, personal. The guys didn't care for each other, but they were at the top of their game. If this isn't one of the best matches ever, it's the best cage match ever I think I've seen. Number 3, going to go back a little bit, 1984 in this one. Bob Backlund losing the title to the Iron Sheik when Arnold Skolin throws in the towel.
Wow.
It was just like, holy shit, you didn't. And Backlund was killed in the magazines for giving up a title. You don't give up a world title. Fucking everybody from Bill Apter to whatever, the King guy, Dan Shockett, the other guys, just raking Backlund.
Rodney King?
I can't think of what the King.
It's definitely not Rodney King.
No. But he was just, Backlund was just raked. And I just remember, holy shit, you didn't see that. What was that? Number 3, number 2. This one, before I heard so much of the history of him, Kerry Von Erich beating Ric Flair for the NWA title at the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions. This was David Von Erich's death kind of started the downfall of the Von Erich dynasty. Kerry winning the title at a match where, finding out later where David was supposed to win the title. This was just heartfelt. You could really see the emotion in the fans' eyes and everything like that watching this match. Great match. And this should be no shock. The number 1 title match that I've ever watched to me was the Rock and Roll Express beating the Russians for their first World Tag title. This was the first match that Rock and Roll had officially in the NWA. They were doing some matches with the Midnight Express that they were to feud with months later in Mid-South. But this was their first match coming out of Mid-South on the main NWA circuit. It was an hour show. They gave it the whole show. It went 47 minutes. There isn't anything that you didn't have in this match. It was a classic little guy, USA versus Russia thing. And then they beat the Russians who, Johnny Weaver was commentating and Bob Caudle commentating on this match and saying nobody could beat the Russians. Not the Road Warriors, not this, not that, not Rhodes and Magnum. And the Rock and Roll did it. And then in the dressing room, Rock and Roll standing there with the titles, and you got
Champagne,
Jimmy Valiant, Champagne, Jimmy Valiant, and Bugsy McGraw kissing everybody. Johnny Weaver drinking champagne on fucking TV, which he got fined $10,000 for the next week. because he was the only one that actually drank. Just a great match. Just one of the most fun matches I've ever watched.
John,
classic NWA stuff. Classic.
What's your question? We'll let Chad answer first.
All right. Those were all great picks, guys, and I don't know about you, but 3 or 4 of each of yours were on my long list of like 15.
Right.
So I think we're all kind of in the same place here. My question to you guys, I've said that sometimes people hang around too long or do some things that kind of change how we remember them. So, not for years, may he live long and prosper, but when Mr. McMahon is no longer with us, how do you guys feel he'll be remembered?
I think he's going to have memories. Honestly, it's going to be kind of split down the middle. He brought wrestling into the mainstream with the rock and roll with Cyndi Lauper and everything, the pay-per-views, everything like that. But then his flip side is making it lately since he's had control of the industry for the most part, making it kind of just for his entertainment and getting away from, traditional things about wrestling, about the industry, and I think to a degree disrespecting the industry that's made him and his family rich.
I'm going to say yes to the same thing Chad said, but I want to kind of go a little bit farther. It's going to be split because there's still going to be, I don't want to say a pretend date, but let's say some of his cronies live longer than him. And we have a Dark Side of the Ring episode 3 months after McMahon dies. You're going to have Tom Pritchard that's saying Vince McMahon.
Bruce Pritchard,
yeah.
Oh,
Bruce Pritchard.
fucker.
Bruce Pritchard is Vince McMahon's the greatest thing in the world. You're going to have, his cronies just, Vince McMahon could do nothing wrong. Then I think you're going to have other people. And no shit, Mark, but I think there's going to be people that we're waiting to hear from when McMahon does pass away, that there's going to shock the shit out of us, saying, I was there for the payday. This guy was out of touch since 1995. I think we're going to learn more about how Vince just continued to shit on everybody. So, split, yes, but I think McMahon is going to have now I'm not saying Herb Abrams type of deal thing, but I think...
That's the way to go, hookers and cocaine.
Hookers and cocaine. I think he's going to have more of a negative connotation on wrestling than he did the positive side, because what he's done in the last... It's what have you done for me lately? And right now, he's dragging wrestling down.
Mark, you nailed it. I'm 100% with you. You have, guys like John Cena on the Larry King show just basically reading the script. And I love John Cena, but, we're in the entertainment business, and Vince McMahon is the greatest thing in the world. But lately, just look at anybody that leaves, and they're not trashing the guy. They're just stating their experience. We're told to memorize the script before we go out the curtain. Everyone has to bump the same. He's out of touch with everything. So there's that. And the only thing I would add to everything you said, Mark, because you nailed it, is you have your grandfather, your favorite uncle, who gives you everything you wanted, everything you love, all your favorite toys, right? And then that favorite uncle, your grandfather, comes around and smashes them for no reason. Just comes over and kicks them and smashes them. And, well, I gave you that toy, didn't I? So that must mean I love you. So what if I smashed it and stepped on it on purpose? That's what Vince has been doing for like the last 15 years, you guys. And, we mentioned Kamala earlier. There was a point I tuned in one time, just every week was something stupid. And I remember Mick Foley doing like America's Got Talent or whatever the hell that show was at the time with Paul Abdul. And Sheik and Volkov had to sing a national anthem.
American Idol is what you're trying to get
Idol.
at. Yeah.
But then the women have to come out and hit on Kamala and see if they can arouse him, which is just it's so stupid. It's stupid and in poor taste, but not just that. Guess what, guys? We know Kamala wasn't from Uganda. We know it was a show. But you're going to take that and throw it in our face like, weren't you stupid in 1984 when you really believed this? You know, weren't you stupid in 1988 when you thought the $1 Million Man really bought the belt? I'm going to have him buy the 24/7 title on TV, and I'm just going to shit on everything I ever gave you. That's the only point I want to make here is, guys, he doesn't have a long time, and I said earlier, may he live long and prosper, and I truly mean that. But he's up there in age. It seems like he wants to shit on everything before he leaves. And that, to me, is a fucking dick move. So I will not remember him well. I will not remember him well. Mark, I'm with you. Chad, you think it's kind of down the middle. Mark, you think it's down the middle, but maybe with a 60-40 split, leaning towards, hey, this guy was a fucking asshole versus everybody loved him. And I'm with you on that. I'm probably with the 60-40 split with how people remember him.
I don't have a question as we break this up. I don't have a question. I want to tell you guys what I have done for the last, 10, 15 hours. Guys, I've stumbled across a general manager, owner type video game. I don't know if we really want to call it a game, but
computer simulation?
Yeah, like a simulator. It is called The Journey of Wrestling .com. Guys, you get a free trial for, I believe it's like 3 days. And you're like, oh, what do you do with it? Well, let me tell you, for my first 5 hours of this, I've put in, 50, what's on that list, Chad? 75, maybe 50, 60 wrestlers from IWC. So I can now be Justin Plummer and book the IWC wrestling events that I want.
Wow.
I've set up that as of right now, I made the champions not vacant, because you could make this whole thing like, John, what I've made, you can come and play IWC for you. That's what I call it, IWC for you. So you type that in, you can play the scenarios that I have set up. Run with it as you want. And you're like, all right, cool, so you can do IWC. Wait a minute right there. Pump your goddamn brakes. We can go back and have Arnold Skolin on this game. He can take on Nick Bockwinkel. He can take on Ivan Koloff. So what I'm telling you is you can pick your eras. You can do anything on this damn simulator. What got me sold is I was watching a guy do this, so I'm like, oh man, I gotta find this. So I found it, and there's WWE, NXT, and AEW. Well, then you can draft. So you can have Jericho, Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Mandy Rose, Britt Baker, all in AEW, where the NWA has Tamina, Naomi, you and Chad, the Swan Dog, people like that, all there just, and it goes by ratings. So whatever matches you're putting together, it's ratings and it's money and it's stuff like that. So you're the owner. I spent hours creating the IWC thing, and now I'm crushing the competition. JourneyofWrestling.com. You get, like I said, 3 days to kind of play it for free. I knew I was buying it. After that, it's $15 and it's yours forever. You get to make stipulation matches, hair versus hair, a kendo stick on a pole match. There's titles. You can create your own titles. You can add your own people. It's brilliant. And I hope to keep updating the IWC one. No disrespect, I didn't get all the rookies in yet, but I just wanted to start playing with it. I've had title changes. The Frat is back in IWC.
Yes.
I'm debating, since I know that Britt Baker and Wardlow are on the AEW ones, do I bring them back in? Calvin has his own title of a rising star. RC Dupree is still high stakes champion. Johnny Patch is kicking ass. And spoiler alert, because you start in January, of course, at the February show, Jack Pollock took the title back from Jimmy Vegas, and Jimmy Vegas is now retired. So it's fun. It is your own scenario of wrestling. I'm not getting anything out of this. It's called journeyofwrestling.com, and it's fun. Guys, I'll put it up. Go play it. See if you like it. If you really love it, buy it, because it's the general manager from like SmackDowns and everything that we've wanted. You don't get to see the matches. You can actually determine the winners if you want to, or you can simulate it. It's just a lot of fun if you're nerdy into stuff like that.
That sounds like a blast.
It is. It really is.
JourneyofWrestling.com. I'm going to check that out.
Chad saw me playing it, so he has nothing to say. All right. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about Raw and SmackDown, and then any other news that might pop up. And I actually had a couple other questions from the old email machine to see what we're doing with a tournament in the near future.
Hey, all you stupid Regents math breathers out there. This is Amanda. I'm Elijah Dean, and you are listening to Can Crushers Podcast.
Welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. We got Mark, who doesn't have questions like we're supposed to. Me, who forgets stuff. John follows the lead and does what he's supposed to. We're all here.
We're eating still.
Mark is eating. Mark is eating.
I have not stopped eating.
The last time I've seen something this stuffed is a Thanksgiving turkey.
This is unbelievable. This is probably Kelly's best. And John, you've gushed about this. This is probably Kelly's best ever chicken dip shit that we have right here. I don't really know if it's, no disrespect to Sticker Mule. You gave us this sauce, awesome, great. But she's left the chunks of the chicken like chunks of chicken, which is really great on a nice tostitos.
Well, just like a good gravy. A good gravy's got to have some lumps in it.
Oh, I agree.
So,
all right, good. Well, I'm eating
on a tostitos, spoken like a true Mexican American named Martinez. Good job, Mark.
You're welcome.
And I'm gonna throw out, since you're throwing out the chicken dip shit promo there, I gotta throw out tonight. I'm drinking Buddy Boy strawberry wine.
This is really good too.
This is really good. This would be something, if it was a long night of drinking, this would be a 3-bottle night.
Every Saturday night has become a long night of drinking, Chad. I don't know where the hell have you been.
Well, I mean, I'm talking like till 2 or 3 in the morning like we did the first time.
Or 2 weeks ago when I had to drive your ass home.
Shut up, fucker.
I'm just doing Yingling tonight. I really am. I haven't had a nice night of beer in a while, so I just, I'm doing Yingling.
Nice. I love Yingling. It's my favorite.
Yingling or Sam Adams. Like it's 1 and 1/8.
Same here.
Yeah, I just...
Same here.
So what is John drinking tonight? Is it a
milkshake,
BBJ, or is it the cookies and milk, or what?
All the milkshakes bringing the boys to the yard for him tonight. I don't know.
That's bad.
Nothing.
All
right.
While we were at break, I got on YouTube, and it is on there. Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis from All In. So I'm going to watch that when we wrap up here. And apparently they wrestled again.
Right.
Yeah, because Aldis won the belt back.
Aldis won the belt back. That's at NWA 70, which is, I want to say, maybe 3 months later. Maybe.
That's it?
Yeah. It wasn't long.
Just like his old man, he couldn't hold on to that damn belt, huh?
No. All right, John.
And that's an hour long.
Yeah, the second match is great. I'm not. Both of them are great. I had the emotional attachment with Cody crying.
Right.
So
right. I can't wait to watch this.
Guys, Raw and SmackDown were. like I said, it was better than getting my tooth pulled. But they were just rough. They were. Mickey James is back. We met her in Altoona. I hate this Raw Underground shit. I can't stand it. It's burying people. John has no idea what we're talking about. Baszler went there. Okay, cool. So Baszler's a legit MMA fighter. She should run through anybody that is at that Raw Underground. She struggles a little bit. Last week, the Hurt Business was there. Stupid. Overall, Asuka now has 2 title shots at SummerSlam. She will be taking on Sasha for the Raw title and Bayley for the SmackDown title.
That's interesting.
There is a match.
That sounds interesting.
There's a match I'm interested that Sonya and your girl Mandy are having a hair versus hair match. I put up who's going to win this match, who's going to have to buy a wig.
Oh, God.
Mandy just got a haircut to get like her summer due. No disrespect, both of these women are unbelievably gorgeous. I actually hope something transpires that they don't have to have their hair cut. Because, like, Sonya's got, like, long, flowing black hair. She's militant in, just militia type thing. Like, it fits her character. It fits her life. Mandy now blonde bombshell with, like, a little crop top and everything, looking great. I really hope neither one has to have a haircut. I really, this isn't...
it's gutsy, though.
This isn't Adrian Adonis against Roddy Piper or Pez Watley against Jimmy Valiant, where either one, I don't care. It is gutsy. It is gutsy.
Yeah,
see, like you don't want it to happen. That's a bold move. I may have to tune in.
When they said hair versus hair, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't want to see either of them get their head shaved. I'm like picturing them, wishing I had Photoshop and I could crop their hair off to see what they actually look like bald. It's just, it's not something I want to see for either of them. Mandy Rose, I'm just going to say, with that promo that she did on SmackDown, she looks like she has the hairiest chest and boobs that there is in wrestling. I mean, she looks more hairier than Otis.
Go ahead, John.
And it's just, I don't know if it was her skin is that wrinkled in that area or what the hell.
I think she's got a little bit of the fake tan burnt skin look.
Oh,
I agree with you. I don't think she looks like Chewbacca.
She's getting there. She's like a blonde Chewbacca.
John, what do you got? What?
I'm stunned. No, I'm stunned. That's all. But I think, like you say, Mark, maybe it was just makeup or tanning stuff or something. Sometimes in the wrong lighting, Iron Sheik did not have a gigantic erection against Hulk Hogan like people think. It was because it was on TV, right? It wasn't really 3D. It was a wrinkle, a sideways wrinkle in his shorts. Looked like a torpedo was shooting out of his trunks. Watch Hulk Hogan versus Iron Sheik. Before Sheik goes to give Hulk Hogan the camel clutch, it looks like the Iranian Loch Ness Monster.
We're talking about hair, and John brings it to dicks. That's right. Great.
But that's the point, is sometimes a camera angle or whatever, and it could be tanning lotion, like you said, or self-tanner or whatever the hell. Yeah.
That's Iron Sheik said about Hogan. I'm making a Hogan humble.
So, wow. Here comes the train wreck part of the show. Randy Orton beats the shit out of Ric Flair. Flair's going to be written off of TV for, I don't know, who knows? Or is he? Because you really didn't see Flair get kicked. Because Redemption is just causing havoc around every show. I don't know.
One thing I had to mention off of Raw, I want to say I enjoyed it. That might be the wrong way to put it. but was when Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins just beat the fuck out of Dominic Mysterio.
That was that was long.
Like,
that was way too long.
But the brutal, the shirt off, beating the shit out of him, one in the back, one up front.
This kendo sticking the Christ out of him.
Oh my God, that was bad.
You should be a big fan of piss. Are you a big fan of piss, Chad?
Well, I mean, if I drink too much, I usually gotta go.
The phenomenal Intercontinental Style System.
Oh, no. Didn't even know what the fuck that was.
It is the way that AJ is grading when he's going to have competition. Jeff Hardy comes out and says, yeah. Bliss. How about Alexa Bliss? She has feelings for Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman has now shaved his head, makes him look like a big giant turd. And
it's like a fucking dick with ears.
And now Alexa cared about him. But she said that she's also attracted to the Fiend like a moth to fire. So I think, personally, that Alexa's didn't get the love from Braun, and now you're going to have Alexa switching over and completely turn into Sister Abigail.
Is this going to be, or are we going to have like a updated, less whorish version of Woman and Kevin Sullivan?
Wow.
With Braun and Alexa, which I would really like to see Alexa, but we're not going to get quite that nasty these days.
Not at all.
Unfortunately. But, wow. Yeah, I'd like to see her just as she just, the hot factor with her goes up when she is a bitch.
That's WWE in a nutshell. We got nothing.
I do want to say...
Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, for all the listeners out there was a scare in Mark's house earlier this week.
Oh.
I got a text message that from his wife that she broke one of the pictures behind my chair, and my first thoughts went to the goddess Alexa Bliss. Thank God it wasn't. It was, I don't know, Jimmy Jack Funk Steamboat or somebody.
It was TJP.
Okay, whatever,
Jimmy Jack Funk Steamboat.
Alexa Bliss is safe and as hot as ever.
Yeah, and I know she was trying for that one. She hates it. I think I just need to move it away from there now to
we
some
can
place.
Put it up at my house and store it.
That's where she wants it.
Okay.
That's where she wants it. I don't understand why she hates Alexa so much. Like, she blatantly... She spits on it as she walks by every time. And I've never said anything about Alexa like you have. I really haven't. Guys, real quick before John fills us in on whatever... OVW The Return is on YouTube. Shows come out on the Roku on Friday night at midnight, and then they get released on YouTube Monday afternoon. So check those out. You can watch it live, of course, if you're in Kentucky. You can watch it live if you have, like, so many other things. But the Roku channel has it on Friday nights at midnight, and YouTube will get them. A lot of cool things they're doing with their titles. If you're number one contender in March when it shut down, you get a title shot within the next 5 weeks. Boom. Each title is going to be defended, so on and so forth. It's just good stuff. They kind of continued some of the storylines. Some of them had to be scrapped because people had now left, but they're working through it, and Al Snow and Chad Miller are busting their humps. Not being taken place in the Davis Arena in Louisville yet because Louisville has not opened. Everything has moved to Indiana right now. And you get to see some young strapping stars that you couldn't see wrestle in Louisville. And we talked to one this coming Wednesday in the form of Billy Starks. All right, John, what do you got?
I had a quick question for you before I get to what I have. You said Randy Orton kicked Ric Flair and Ric Flair maybe off TV?
Yeah, he punted him.
Is that right?
Supposedly.
All right. So that happened any number of years ago already. They've been kind of running this Ric Flair thing for, like, honestly, guys, the last 15 or so years. That if you want, I guess if you want heat, go beat up Ric Flair. It just seems kind of old to me, no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's constantly, repackaged and whatnot. No, I wanted to mention, I've mentioned on here that book that my buddy from Australia has been writing as far as the LJN action figures go. I have two, in this long book, I have two parts in there. One is a story about how I got a certain figure, and one of the figures I have is actually going to be pictured in this book. There's a section on customs, and there are pictures of some of the very best customs made, and one of the pictures is my Hoss / Dory Funk Jr. figure. I was so stoked when I came across that.
Nice. Your Jimmy Jack didn't make it?
Jimmy Jack didn't. No, Hoss did.
Hoss did. I like your Jimmy Jack better. No disrespect. I love your Jimmy Jack.
Yeah, I do too.
I love the Jimmy Jack that we ate at in WrestleCade. Or that was not Jimmy Jack. What was that called?
Jimmy John's?
Jimmy John's?
Jimmy John's, yeah. They're the same thing.
Oh, my God.
No. Guys, it's official now. The Encyclopedia Wrestling of... The comic book Encyclopedia of Wrestling is out. It's shipping all over the place. You should have them this week, if not within the next 10 days. If you have not ordered it, head over to the websites and order it. Chad, what else do you have? I'm out.
Nothing too much in the news. Jericho and Cornette. Jericho banned Cornette from ever watching AEW, and
that's great.
They had a couple of things back and forth.
Banter.
This is a good banter back and forth on Twitter. I'm telling you, Cornette's going to appear in AEW at some point.
That would be perfect.
And it would fit
pro wrestling. That would be great.
Jelly Nutella. I mean Joey. I forgot what.
Moxley.
No.
Oh.
Jelly Nutella. What the hell's his real name?
Joey Janela.
Joey Janela.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a thing going on Twitter where he was getting offended by being called Jelly Nutella and various other things, and he turned his Twitter account over to other people to manage. It's pretty much a work. Again, this is another thing I'm thinking is pointing to fucking Cornette showing up in AEW. I don't think it's going to be soon. I think it's going to be around the first of the year or somewhere. Cornette and AEW. And then just last thing, with all the accusations and everything that came up a month and a half ago or so, Marty Scurll's role has yet to be defined in Ring of Honor.
Legit just posted that probably prior to us recording last night.
His role's yet to be defined. He was going to be a booker and part owner. Other than the part owner, there's nothing set in stone for Marty Scurll in wrestling right now. His situation that he was accused of and admitted to was that he had sex with an underage girl in a bar. He readily admitted to it and everything. It's going to be interesting, and it's a shame that their career could be over doing something stupid like that. It's a price you're going to pay. But, man, where was him and Aldous going last year? And now we don't even know if Marty Scurll's going to be a player in wrestling, period.
Let's touch on that. The NWA has signed with the United Wrestling Federation or something like that, and they're in the middle of September. They're going to start doing some weekly shows, some pay-per-views. Everything's going to be on Fight TV. I don't know if you're going to have to get like the freebies like you can get on Fight TV, or if they're going to expect you to buy a pay-per-view every week. if it's buy a pay-per-view every week, I think NWA might as well, and I'll say it because it's my feeling right now, even if it's $10 a week, I'm not shelling out $10 a week to watch. No. If it's free off of Fight TV because it's pre-recorded and they're going to throw it up or something, cool, I'll watch that.
Maybe a pay-per-view every other month or something.
Right. I'm all on board with that, but I almost think that the NWA doing a joint with somebody like I don't remember the name. That's how, and no disrespect, insignificant this federation is that they're teaming with.
But they have a TV. I
have a TV deal too. It's called YouTube.
But they have some kind of obsolete channel and a deal, and that's where NWA is trying to get back in. It's going to be weird. It isn't going to be worth
right
if they try to go every week.
So I think they're taking a step back. I don't know. I really don't know. What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry. You know what this reminded me of, Mark? Remember when we went to 5-Star Wrestling? It was the first time we saw Jack Pollock. And the guy was like, "We're gonna have show
in Butler when we met Razor."
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, "We're gonna have a show on TV," and you and I were like, "Oh, this is great! I'll tune into another wrestling show because this was awesome. I will watch a local promotion on TV." The guy's like, "If you have an antenna, you want one facing northeast, you want one facing southwest. You got to try to get the UHF channel right." We're like, "Holy shit!"
And then he gave us
don't have it then.
A decimal. It was like channel 57.54. What?
Sorry. That's came to mind when you were talking about.
Oh.
That was it. Yeah.
Oh, and Ring of Honor is supposed to start. They're saying they're going to start live shows.
You read everything on the website this week, didn't you? Good job, Chad.
Well, I've seen
everything that I posted. You brought up. Good job.
I want to see Ring of Honor come back. A lot of talent there. A lot of talent. Ben
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger in paradise.
I don't want a cheeseburger right now. Steak right now.
I want to grill. Maybe I'll grill by myself tomorrow. The wife is working. The child's going to do something. So I'll either play Journey of Wrestling, sleep, or grill. My grass does need cut, but I never cut grass on weekends. I'll cut grass when I come home from work Monday. Weekend's my time.
Wow. That's when I'll do mine is on the weekend. I plan to cut mine tomorrow. Well, today.
Right.
Kayfabe today.
Kayfabe today.
Shoot tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Pow.
Final is Yankees 11, Red Sox 5. Yo, Soup, tell your sister the Yankees said was good.
All right. This is family reunion was last week. Do you guys know how to wrap this up? Because we've gone long.
Remember, Chad, just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
You almost messed it up.
Bitches.
Wednesday with a great spotlight.